So a nice segue through to our next speaker, who is talking about the rise of the African woman entrepreneur. Been looking forward to this session. So Vimala Thuran is currently heading up the Program Development and Gender Lens investing at Graphene, which you'll be aware is a private development financier investing in SMEs and operating in 15 countries in Africa and the Middle East. She's got over 20 years' experience and has worked with governmental, international, regional and local development organisations, working closely with actors involved in contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals and in projects promoting the socio-economic development in Africa. Vimala has been instrumental in developing the Gender Lens investing programme, working in close collaboration with the board and leadership of Graphene, as well as other key stakeholders supporting this initiative, including DGGF, Norfund and FMO. So I'm really delighted to hand over to our last speaker for this morning session, Vimala Thuran, to speak to us about catalysing women entrepreneurship in Africa using innovative blended financing mechanisms. Looking forward to this one. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Vimala Thuran and I will talk about how we can be catalyzing women entrepreneurship in Africa post-COVID-19 using innovative blended financing solutions. So the World Economic Forum has issued a global gender gap report in 2021, which estimates that it will take another 122 years to achieve gender equality in sub-Saharan Africa. 24% of young women in sub-Saharan Africa are neither working nor receiving education. Only 16% of firms have female in their top management, and only 31% of formal firms have female participation in their ownership. And by 2023, another 283 million women and girls are expected to live in extreme poverty. There is no denying that 2020 was an extremely challenging year, and no one could have anticipated how suddenly and severely COVID-19 would have changed the world and the way we do business. And unfortunately, the gender gap has widened more during COVID-19. Over 42% of women-led businesses reported a complete loss or severe decrease of revenue. There has been an additional 31 million cases of gender-based violence. More girls are being impacted in the education sector. More women have been impacted by loss of jobs and unemployment. We have also noticed a decline of women in leadership positions, and pressure on global health system led to more than 113,000 additional maternal deaths during the first year of the pandemic. In addition, COVID-19 has also increased the already challenges faced by women entrepreneurs. In a study conducted by MEDA, alongside with the finance gap faced by women, they also face specific challenges such as social norms, gender discrimination, and they do not own assets, so they do not have collaterals. They lack access to diverse social networks that may benefit their businesses. They lack business skills, and they often need to juggle between family responsibilities, childcare, and running their businesses. And on top of that, women entrepreneurs have lower confidence because of culture, unconscious bias, and a patriarchal society. So why the SME segment in Africa, and why women? Because globally, small and growing businesses owned by women face a 300 billion financing gap. And in sub-Saharan Africa, women face 42 billion financing gap, meaning there is a lot of business opportunity, not only in terms of financing, but in terms of return and impact. SME need more funding to grow their potential. The businesses at the base of the SME pyramid, so-called the missing middle segment, typically ticket size between $20,000 to $2 million, are too big for microfinance, too small for private equity, and not enough formalized for banks. And in addition, discrimination and gender challenges prevent women entrepreneurs to access finance. And better progress to gender parity can add a 316 billion GDP value to Africa. So Graphene business model is an integrated model of providing finance together with tailored business support and technical assistance for the success of the SMEs. Our experience in serving women entrepreneurs in emerging markets and the study conducted by MEDA proves the need for a gender nuanced approach. Among others, women need more hand-holding, they need more time to take decisions, they are more risk-averse, they feel they are not taken seriously in business when approaching for funding, and above all, they need to be more confident as businesswomen, as they also need to improve their entrepreneurial competences and knowledge, their financial skills and business acumen. So Graphene provides support to women entrepreneurs from pre-finance to post-finance. We have a coaching, mentoring, and shareholder approach, and our business support stages consist of supporting the entrepreneur, of developing robust business plan, become investment ready, develop business skills of the entrepreneurs, provide access to technical assistance and mentoring program to them, provide continuous guidance and advice, and also give women entrepreneurs access to our networks and industry experts and capacity building program. In 2019, Graphene contracted MEDA to define its gender lens investing strategy. MEDA's research identified that the business needs of women were financial products with smaller deal size, less collateral, flexibility, payment terms, different credit risk approach, consider equity revenue-based products, as well as non-financial support such as mentoring, coaching, and they have to take a journey and a trust relation with their investors. So based on all the recommendations of MEDA, Graphene has leveraged on its experience in serving both women entrepreneurs and small businesses in emerging countries to design the Africa Catalyze Her Fund. This fund will unlock opportunities for women across the 4 pillars of the 2X challenge, namely entrepreneurship by bridging the access to finance gap, leadership by building the entrepreneurship ecosystem, employment by financing those businesses to sustain and creating decent job opportunities, and consumption by stimulating the growth of the businesses that provide crucial goods and services to women. So what will be the target market? The target market will be across 7 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. The challenge is not only access to finance, is to create also a sustainable gender financing solution. As you see in the pyramid, on the upper segment, there are larger corporates, higher value, but smaller volume of investees. However, at the bottom of the pyramid, which is above microfinance, we have more businesses, but smaller in terms of value. With that, we cannot apply what we have been doing in the past, that is to have a dedicated relationship manager and investment manager. We are targeting to use a digital platform to serve this largest segment of smaller deals. This digital channel will not only allow to close the financing gap, but also to deliver a different sort of business support, which is a targeted curricula through a learning platform over a longer period of time. Small snippets of training over a period of 1 to 2 years to help entrepreneurs learn in an easy, innovative way that conveys knowledge and training through the same platform they're using for financing. We are targeting to reach a large number of businesses. However, we are not increasing the risk of the portfolio, but reaching more impact and value to give better return to our investors. And we are also targeting some higher value SMEs, which are more structured, have more stability, more knowledge entrepreneurs, which we will accompany through our personalized business support approach with our investment team, and that will be a bigger part of the portfolio. This will give a portfolio that is more balanced. This is a mix of SMEs that we are balancing impact as well as return to our investors and to achieve a fund that is sustainable over time. So with the SDGs, there was an acknowledgement that development finance will need to go from billions of dollars to trillions of dollars. And the way to do that is to bring in private investment using blended finance. The Africa Catalyze Hub Fund will have a blended finance structure with different class of asset investors. We will have a first loss equity layer with mission-aligned investors, focus on impact and development, with expectation of lower return. We will crowd in more donors and philanthropic investors to absorb the risk. We will have a senior equity layer protected by a junior equity layer, and debt investors in the capital vehicle structure. We are adding a risk guarantee mechanism to enhance the risk profile of the fund and reduce the credit risk associated to small businesses in Africa. In addition, to lower the risk of the asset and portfolio, we are leveraging on our TA partners and network to build capacity to identify and mitigate business risk that will be present in the portfolio. By de-risking the portfolio, we reduce the risk on the capital, which also protects the first loss equity, the senior equity, and debt providers. On the other hand, operating in Africa, as you all know, we are subject to FX risk. Based on our experience, we will be targeting those countries where the FX depreciation and FX risk is lower. We are also exploring mechanisms which can partially cover the FX risk involved to further reduce the losses carried by the first loss equity provider. That structure will allow the fund to be sustainable and provide a good balance between the risk and reward in terms of impact return and financial return, investing in emerging countries across Africa. So by empowering women, we will improve their livelihood, reduce gender inequalities through entrepreneurship, leadership, employment, and consumption, and contribute directly to 5 SDG goals, namely the SDG 5 by reaching gender equality, SDG 10 by reducing inequalities, SDG 8 by promoting decent work and economic growth, SDG 3 for good health and well-being, and SDG 4 quality education towards alleviating poverty. So here's a snapshot of Graphene Gender Lens Impact footprint as at 31st December 2020 across our different portfolio. 28% of our portfolio are women-owned and managed businesses. We have invested $87.2 million in women-owned businesses, We have financed over 210 of these businesses. 1 in every 3 jobs sustained is a woman. We have sustained over 9,000 jobs for women, improved the livelihood of 285,000 women, and by investing in 105 SMEs in the education and healthcare sector, we have served 276,000 female patients and served 16,000 female learners. So Graphene is a development and impact fund manager specialized in financing and supporting small and growing businesses across Africa and the Middle East. We started our impact journey in 2004 with an energy fund in South Africa. And since then, we have been managing 12 funds and 2 programs on behalf of 34 international development finance institutions, development organizations, foundations, donors, large companies, and private funders. We have raised more than $540 million, and we have increased our geographical footprint across 15 countries in Africa and the MENA region. We finance high-impact SMEs across agribusiness, manufacturing, healthcare, education, and WASH, among others. So blended finance is the future of development finance. And for this to happen, donors need to understand the blended finance structure and how their support can boost investment without distorting the market. DFIs need to take a little bit more risk, especially after COVID-19 and post-pandemic. Public and philanthropic money needs to be truly catalytic to crowd in much-needed private investment. The blended finance structure needs to have a development impact. Financial return is key together with impact return. With the Africa Catalyze Her Fund, there will be a TA facility where support is needed to further de-risk the SMEs and build the entrepreneurship ecosystem with technical assistance and external partnership. The grant received through the TA facility will support Graphene in building a robust and resilient infrastructure through a digital platform. And this technology and innovation will help Graphene to further track and report on ESG, on the impact, and also capture the best practices and success stories and have a shared learning platform with the entire impact investing community.
If nothing changes, sub-Saharan Africa is unlikely to achieve gender equality for at least another 120 years. The World Economic Forum measures the gender gap by looking at different outcomes men and women experience in different aspects of their lives. Around the world, women are more likely to be poor and less likely to have access to education and healthcare than men. These and other challenges make it harder for women to access economic opportunities as workers or entrepreneurs.
When people see that you're a woman and you're starting a school, and especially when you need funds, you don't have the capital, they want to take advantage of you. The issue of being a woman running the school came up. They didn't really use it like, oh, it's a major one, but then eventually, like, okay, she's a woman. What will she do? What will she say?
Gender-related factors also mean that women-owned businesses usually tend to stay small. Women in Africa tend to have lower levels of financial literacy and business skills than men. Women conduct 60% of family work, in addition to their business activities. Social norms still restrict their freedom to work outside of the home, the economic sectors they choose to get involved in, and also influences how women view themselves and their abilities.
Many of us women struggle with financing, and being able to understand when our accountants are using terms that are alien to us. With this, our eyes are open and we now understand the importance of keeping our books.
Gender is also a key factor in one of the biggest challenges to hold back women entrepreneurs, a lack of access to finance. Financiers often view women entrepreneurs as too risky or discriminate against them in other ways. And because women tend to own fewer assets than men, they possess less capital and find it more difficult to access loans.
The school started, there was really no funds available anywhere, no capital base and all that. Now, even if you put children together and they are willing to come to your school, you have to keep spending money from day one. I mean, funds became an issue. Paying staff salary became an issue. So we have always had challenges, but we have not really had any major support. And I couldn't get any bank support, but somehow we've been able to survive it.
As a result, African women entrepreneurs have yet to fully realize their tremendous potential. This has to change, and fast.
So I'm a proud African woman working for Graphene, who is 100% staff from Africa and Middle East. And you will agree with me that African women cannot simply wait another century to experience meaningful improvement in their living standard. Neither can Africa afford to wait that long for the socio-economic growth and development that empowering women can ignite. I'm here with my CEO, Brian van der Walt, and the CIO, Ashraf Ismail, and we would like to meet you and see how we can further partnership. Thank you very much.